Today, we're going to talk about it. The question that everyone asks, but most people don't really want to hear the answer to. Will I have loose skin after weight loss surgery? Hi, I'm Sonia, and this is Bariatric Baddie, a community for anyone thinking about or already on their bariatric surgery journey, where we get real about the actual realities of having weight loss surgery, the good, the bad, and the saggy. Today, I'm breaking down the truth about loose skin, what causes it, what can help, and the things that are absolutely out of your control. And there's many. This is a much more layered topic, literally, than you probably think. And as an added bonus, I'll even give you some insights on the current condition of my skin after having Roux-en-Y gastric bypass on 9/23. I'm over 100 pounds down at the time of this taping, and things couldn't be better. I absolutely do not regret having this surgery, and I would do it over again 100 times over. It is the best decision I ever made for myself. Now, quick disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I am not your medical professional, and these videos are not intended to replace the advice of any medical professional. So always check with your medical team to determine whether or not bariatric surgery is indeed the right choice for you, or if you're already on the journey about what's going on so that you can get guidance on what to do for your unique situation. So here's the deal. Loose skin is not a punishment. It's biology. And to cut through all the noise and just very directly answer the question of whether or not you will have any kind of loose skin after weight loss surgery, the answer is it depends. 9 times out of 10, most people will have some form of loose skin. There's a few that could say they don't, but I would argue there's probably some places on their body where there's still going to be some loose skin. So I think the safer answer, yes, likely you will. You will have some form of loose skin somewhere on your body. Now, skin is funny because there may be some very hidden places where you may have loose skin, places like your ears, for example, which we'll talk about in just a second. So why does this happen? Well, when you lose a significant amount of weight, whether through bariatric surgery, whether through lifestyle changes or diet, your skin can't always keep up. And how much your skin can actually keep up depends on the elasticity. Now, elasticity depends on a lot of different factors, some of which you can control, some you can't. Those factors include things like age, genetics, how fast you lost your weight, how long you've been at your heaviest weights or heavier weights, so how long your skin was actually stretched. And then lastly, how well you treat your body before and during the process. So those are things like hydration, your nutrition, especially your protein, how much lean muscle you're starting with and how much you continue to build, and factors like collagen. So think of it as your body's memory foam. The longer it's been stretched, the harder it will likely be for it to bounce back, if it bounces back at all. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you. I promise that I will always keep things honest and real here. And this is just the truth about loose skin. But another truth about loose skin is that for most bariatric patients, once they have the surgery and once they've dealt with their loose skin or are still dealing with their loose skin, it's not enough to make them say they would never do the surgery again. There are countless people living every day with tons of loose skin, and they have their challenges with that, which I will touch on briefly. Body image issues to actual physical issues like rashes. And you may have to undergo additional treatments and things to eventually move to the next phase of your transformation. But as many bariatric patients will tell you that have dealt with this or that are dealing with this, though difficult, it is still something that they embrace and that would never stop them from having the surgery again. Now, I bring this up and we're talking about it in this video because a lot of people fear the idea of loose skin after bariatric surgery. It even keeps them from actually having the surgery in many cases. Even in my own case, I certainly had some level of fears around it as well and thought a lot about it beforehand, but ultimately decided that the risk was worth taking because I knew I needed some kind of intervention to get any aspect of my health and my life back under control. There are some things you can do to help your skin adjust or at least improve your odds of having positive outcomes when it comes to loose skin, or at least it being a little bit of a better situation. But I also want to be crystal clear in saying that I am not saying that there are remedies and known solutions that are absolutely going to ensure that you prevent loose skin. That's just not the reality of where we are currently with bariatric journeys and our bodies. We have to remember our bodies, they're sacred. I truly believe that loose skin is just another testament to how hard you've worked, how much you've accomplished, everything you've been able to do if you were able to drop that amount of weight. So in a way, it's like giving you a very clear physical sign of just how much you've achieved. And I think that's important because mindset and the mental state that you're in going into this journey is everything. You'll hear me say it in many videos that the mental game is the hardest. And you have to look at things in a way that are going to help support you throughout this journey. So even with loose skin, give yourself grace and work with your medical team to determine what the best course of action is for you. And then also work on fully embracing whatever the new form of you will be. And again, though you can't fully control what actually happens with you ultimately once you've gone through this journey or lost a significant amount of weight, you can do things to support it. Here's some things that worked and didn't for me and others in the bariatric community. Staying hydrated. And this will help you with all aspects of your bariatric journey. Right from the beginning, you'll hear people telling you, walk, 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 sip, 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 because getting in the right amount of hydration is so important to the success of your entire journey. You have to keep your body hydrated, but especially your skin. There are many bogus products out there that will mislead you and give you certain advice or claim to do certain things for you throughout this journey. And let me just tell you, proceed with caution. The very basic foundational things like hydrating are going to be much more effective and powerful when it comes to dealing with loose skin. Second, focus on protein. Again, something you'll hear time and time and time again, even before you have your actual bariatric surgery. Protein is not just for muscle. It helps with collagen as well. And collagen is very important when it comes to skin and your skin elasticity. And with that, of course, you can also supplement with collagen. There are a lot of people in the bariatric community that use the powder form of collagen or other forms of collagen to help their skin. Third, and really I probably should have said this first, is strength training. That is such an important part of this. Your lean muscle will not only help you look better, it will also help you feel better. It helps your body fill out in spaces more, and it just helps overall with any loose skin you might have. And even if you have the loose skin, having muscle will help it look better and carry better on your body. It helps you fill out areas that would otherwise sag. I can give you a prime example of that with my own arm. Like right here, I still have my bat wings. And that's kind of my own fault. They wouldn't look this saggy if I was actually doing more weight training. Recently, I started doing more weight training, so my arms are already looking a lot better. If I can find some video from a few months ago, they were quite a bit more saggy here, and that was because I hadn't really worked out. My surgeon allowed me to start doing light weights, not even, a week after my surgery. I'll try to drop some footage in here. And so it just depends. Make sure you follow your medical team's lead here as far as what they want you to do or not do. But my surgeon was always big on active recovery and has been stressing strength training from before the time I even had surgery. And so I'm definitely getting back into it now. And I'm over 2 years post-op at this point, but I know that I've been slacking in this department and I need to do a little bit more, which I know will help my body look even better now. Fourth, moisturizing and massage. And this can help just with the texture and the comfort of your skin. It just helps you feel a little bit better. And lastly, moving slow. You'll see in the community, different people lose weight at different paces. And a lot of times people are super eager early on and want to lose the weight super fast, or they just do. In my case, I lost majority of my weight in the first 5 months and I lost it fast. And there were a lot of people in the community that were like, oh my God, you're losing it so fast. And a lot of people do, but there were others that were like, I'm not losing it quite that fast. And it took them a full year and a half. And the thing is, when you lose weight a little slower, it actually helps with your loose skin. So it's not a bad thing. So if you find yourself starting to play that comparison game, which I will talk about in other videos, don't. It might actually be a good thing for your body that your body is dropping the weight in a slower state. And yes, for some people, skin removal surgery will be necessary. And though difficult, it is a valid and empowering choice. It is something that will just be another part of their amazing transformation journey. I want to be clear in saying it is not a sign of failure and it is not about vanity. It is about regaining a level of confidence that maybe you've been trying to work towards so hard, but the loose skin is still that last factor keeping you from being fully there. And if that's you, embrace it and move into it proudly, knowing how hard you've worked to get to the point where you will need skin removal surgery. Here's what I really want you to hear. Loose skin doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It means you did something incredible. For quite a while before ultimately deciding to have this surgery, I was so afraid of what I might end up looking like. But when it finally happened, I realized that this loose skin, every inch of it, is evidence of me saving my life. Every wrinkle, every line, every extra bit across my body is another piece of my story. So whether you choose to embrace it and live with it forever, to hide it, to tighten it, or remove it, know it is your body, your call, and your victory. Now, before I move to the last part of sharing my actual loose skin and like what I'm dealing with at this point in my journey, which I know a lot of you are waiting on, I want to just also quickly touch on the fact that loose skin can be extremely difficult and challenging for bariatric patients to deal with. That's just the truth. I want to be super transparent in saying that because that is something that is a very real possibility for anyone having bariatric surgery. So if you're on the journey already and dealing with loose skin right now, I hope that my message at least helps you feel a little more seen and also provides you some encouragement to continue moving forward through this very hard phase. The thing with loose skin, for those of you that aren't on this journey right now, that may have a very real reality of having a significant amount of loose skin when you have this surgery, just know that can present its own challenges. It can be a very difficult phase to deal with, to go through, to overcome, because there are things that come with having those layers and layers of loose skin. It's things like how your clothes might fit. It's things like having skin breakouts and rashes, which are super common in the areas where the skin folds come together. You may have issues with even intimacy or relationships because you may not want to show parts of your body, at least during that time. All of that is something that many people deal with. So if and when you would, know you are not alone and know it is something that you can get through. That brings us to just about the end of this video. Drum roll, please. Let's talk about my skin. Like what I have going on over here. And I want to also say that I'm sharing this because I think it's important for people to see all different types of results that folks can get online. There are a lot of videos of people sharing excess loose skin, like a ton of loose skin after this surgery. But there aren't really a ton with a lot of people showing that they have minimal loose skin after having weight loss surgery. And I think it's important that that kind of content is out there as well. I am not sharing this to make anyone that has more loose skin feel bad about their situation or to like claim that what I have going on is better than what the next person has going on. No, this is just what it is. This is what I have going on right now. And I think it's important for people to see that you can also have these kinds of results after having weight loss surgery. Now, if you were to ask me what factors do I think contributed to where I ended up with my loose skin at this point, well, I think it's several. First of all, definitely genetics. My family's always looked younger than the age that we are. We've had really good skin when it comes to elasticity in our skin. I've had a lot of skin issues like eczema and adult acne and things like that when it comes to breakouts. But as far as the actual like state and condition of the skin, always been very blessed in that department. Second, my age. I mean, I had this surgery in my early 40s, which for me, I think was kind of a prime time for me to have it. If I had waited another 10 or 20 years, I think the situation would have been very different. The longer you wait to have the surgery, the later in life you are having the surgery, the less elasticity you likely have in your skin, thus increasing the amount of loose skin you likely will have after having the surgery. Just something to be aware of. And that's not to say don't have the surgery at a later point in your life. Just go into it with the right expectations. Third, I definitely think my habits had something to do with it. I was already a very active person going into the surgery in general. Like in my life, I like to cycle and I like to work out and do different things, even though I had been slacking a bit on that for the year or two before surgery. But just in general, I did have some muscle mass already going into the surgery. And I also made sure that like I followed my surgeon's instructions to a T. So from the very beginning, I was like, I am going to knock this out the park, and I committed to that. And I think that that had a lot to do with it. Like I still to this day, 2+ years later, make sure that I'm getting the right amount of hydration. I'm looking at how much protein that I'm getting in. And even though I've been slacking for a few months, I'm starting to get back into doing strength training, making sure that I'm lifting some kind of weights per week, and also that I'm active. I've been going to things like line dancing. I'm starting to play pickleball, even to the point where I recently injured my knee a bit. So yeah, I'm definitely getting back into working out regularly, which I think is a huge factor in like just helping your body recover better and to just feel and look better too. So in general, my body does not have a ton of loose skin, not in comparison to a lot of other folks, but I'm going to walk through the areas where I do have some loose skin and maybe even talk a little bit about some of the other areas people tend to have loose skin while I'm doing it. All right, so here is my body. Whoops. Maybe if I turn the light on. Okay, here we go. First, my neck. You'll notice like it may not look like anything to you, but there'll be these extra layers of just really thin skin. I'm going to turn red from doing this, but this is definitely an area where I have some concentration of loose skin. I've heard from others that they have loose skin on their face and this cheekbone area, they may notice some more wrinkling of their skin, but I've even heard from people like with their earlobes and ears in general, just having like some extra skin up here too, and down in the hoo-ha. Now, another area that for me was a big one, and this was something I thought about a lot before my surgery, and that is my breasts. So when I started this journey, I was a 42, 44, triple D, probably borderline higher than that. And I'm now wearing a 36 triple D. And that's because they're still taking up the same volume just about because of the loose skin that I also have here. But of course, the measurement around my body went down significantly. I do think if I were to ever have any kind of surgical intervention, it would be this. I believe that I would have like a lift and probably just a, removal of some of the excess skin that's here. But we're not there yet. That would be a few years from now. But it'll be kind of hard to see, but I'm going to try. If I lean over, like the skin is here in this area. And this isn't really the greatest bra for me to show this. So I'll try to make a video where I actually wear just a regular bra to show you, but I have a lot of excess skin up here. Just imagine that these dropped a bit and there's a lot of just thin skin going on over here. I certainly have loose skin on my arms, which that's a very common area. A lot of us already had loose skin here even before having the surgery. I also have loose skin on my belly, which I'm showing it a little bit here, but again, I can do a more detailed video where I show it a lot more clearly, but my belly definitely has loose skin. My thighs, my inner thighs do. Let me see if I can do this. So my inner thighs right here have quite a bit of loose skin. And like I said, I can do a different video where I do this a lot closer and you can just see kind of what it looks like. And then I have some loose skin as well back here on my back. But I will tell you, my back looks a lot better than it did many, many years ago. So as I wrap this up, I hope this video provides you some encouragement and support and maybe even minimizes some of your fears and gives you some peace as you're looking at going into the bariatric journey, or if you're already on it, about your post-op journey. If you liked any part of this and found value, please make sure you hit a thumbs up and also subscribe and hit that bell so that you can be notified as my new content comes out. I'm just getting started here with Bariatric Baddie, but I'll have a lot more coming for you to help support you before, during, and after your bariatric journey. Tell me in the comments, what's been your biggest fear or surprise as it relates to loose skin after bariatric surgery? Let's talk about it. No shame here. I definitely want this to become a welcoming and inclusive and positive and supportive space for anyone on this journey, and I'll need you to help me make that happen. I'll see you on my next video.